Hey everybody, welcome back to another edition of Ikigai Leadership. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Dhru Bee. I'm here with a unique guest who I'm actually excited about this interview because we can just talk through and just talk shit for the 30 minutes or so. Sajad Abid. Sajad, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much. It's Sajad Abid.
Abid, sorry, my bad.
It's okay, but we got to get my dead grandfather's name right, though.
Fair enough. My apologies.
That's okay.
Sajad Abid.
I've been called worse.
That's true. That's fair. I mean, I'm sure. I think we all have, but yeah, I'm sure you especially have.
Thanks. I think.
Yeah. No. It's a compliment. So we just talked for a few minutes before we started this conversation here, and I'm actually going to start with a little bit different than I normally do, and I want folks to hear about your idea about weekends or lack thereof. So we just talked about a unique perspective you have on weekdays, weekends, and just days in general. Do you mind sharing that real quick before we jump into your backstory and everything?
Sure. I have no idea what day it is until somebody tells me. So there's a quote that says, if you do what you love for a living, you never work a day in your life. So my life is Groundhog's Day. It's the same thing every single day, and it's fun all the time. I work the vast majority of the time, but I love what I do. So it's not like work at all. It's not like hard labor, or it's what I enjoy. I've positioned my life to be in the place where I get to do exactly what I want, be completely myself, have complete autonomy, help a lot of people make a lot of money. I help them make a lot of money, and I make a lot of money. So it's all fun. Everything's good every single day.
I like that a lot, and it's the podcast title is Ikigai Leadership, and that leads into Ikigai, right? The whole like finding passion for what you're doing, and then just leaning into it and just doing it, right? And finding different aspects of yourself that you want to enjoy, and then really leading to all those aspects at the same time, because there are different things that are going to light up different parts of you, right? And I really enjoy it. So Sajad runs a couple different things. One is cause and effect consulting, which is I'll let you talk about it exactly what it is, but my bad summary of it is business coaching and supporting people in positions of being business owners and leaders in organizations kind of thing, and how to grow their businesses, right? That's my short, really bad version of what you do. But I really enjoy polarizing networking for personally, the networking groups you run, because it's not a typical networking group. It's not the normal BS of like, hey, say what you do, and then here's a networking question, and then here's what exactly what to talk about, and now that we don't give you any prompts, you have no idea what to say to each other. I like the way you run it, and it's a lot more authentic. It's a lot more real. What First of all, share what you do with folks, and then tell us how you even came up to this from the first place.
How did I get here?
Yeah, how did you get to the idea that this business that you're doing right now?
Cause and effect consulting is changing the world by becoming extremely well organized. You will significantly increase your productivity, and you will substantially reduce your stress. I'm going to run you through a 6-week business development boot camp where I'm going to beat you with a fucking stick. I'm going to ignore your stupid feelings. You're going to hate me for 6 weeks. You're going to be in love with me in 4 months from now. When you hire me, we work together up to 1 hour per week. I'm on call 24/7. As I said, I don't take off on weekends, and I also don't celebrate holidays. You get 1 hour of homework. It's an entertaining educational video. You're going to take copious handwritten notes to ensure that it pounds in your subconscious and that you're not multitasking. You get access to my online community, which is 20 other entrepreneurs like you, as well as my online program and the support of 8 of my former clients who I pay to assist you through the program. As a former attorney for over 4 years, I won all my cases, including trial work. I was deputy chief of staff with the state of Illinois for the Department of Children and Family Services, 4th in charge of a $1.2 billion agency where I ran the biggest projects for the state. And I had a very successful tech company for 6 years doing custom websites, custom CRMs, and providing business consulting. It was very successful. So my 4-bed, 2-bath house is paid off in cash. I drive a $76,000 twin turbo, and my girlfriend's super hot. She's not with me for my personality. How I got here was I had my tech company going, I had my law firm going, and then I got the job with the state. I was a social worker for 16 years before that. I'm old. I'm just really good looking. So when I was with the state, I was pushing people to work, and they would always say to me, you don't know how things work around here. and that means we don't work around here. And I said, oh, no, I'm deputy chief of staff. So we're going to work. We're going to get shit done. And we did. We got a lot of things done. I created and led the team that cut the time from adoptions down from 554 days to 121 days. And I helped incarcerated people have the opportunity to engage in their children's, like their plans, their life plans, whether they're playing instruments or doing sports. And that's important because the vast majority of people, over 90%, get out of jail within a couple of years. And if they're not engaged with their children, then when they get out of jail, they don't re-engage with their children. And so I led like 9 projects like that. And then I had my law firm going and my tech company going while I was working for the state. And people kept reporting me and saying that I was trying to sell my services, which I didn't. I never even mentioned my law firm. I mentioned that I had a tech company when we were discussing things like organization and CRMs, because that's what it did. But I never mentioned the name of the company. I never tried to sell my product. I didn't even say what the company name was. So I wasn't trying to do that, but they kept trying to get me on ethics violations to get me to stop pushing them to work. So I shut down the law firm. I shut down the tech company. And then after I left the state, I was offered 4 jobs, vice president jobs at the major firms, nonprofits, like the ones that bring in 50 million, 100 million in revenue per year. And I had, managed a lot of their executive staff through my projects. And so I was offered a lot of jobs and I accepted one of them. And then I self-reported to the Office of Inspector General that I was going to accept this position. And they said, you're not allowed to work for anybody that has a government contract or license with the agency for a year. It's supposed to prevent corruption. I don't think it does that, no. But it kept me from getting a job. So, for 2 years, I was applying for jobs. I applied to over 800 jobs. I got 8 interviews. 4 of them were scams. 3 of them told me I was overqualified. And then one of them was Amazon operation manager. I interviewed for 8 hours, 10 hours, and I was declined, but they didn't tell me why. So I was doing consulting for nonprofits that didn't have government or at least DCFS contracts. And so I was doing that for a couple of years. I had been an entrepreneur before, so I didn't want to do it again because entrepreneurship is like dating a perfect looking woman. It's a fantasy. You don't know what it's really like till you do it.
Yeah.
It sounds really good to be an entrepreneur, but you eat what you hunt. It's an extremely difficult thing to do. It's fun, but it's not, you don't get a paycheck. So, right. So I was trying to get a job, couldn't get a job, was doing consulting. And then one day I just said, fuck it. I'm going to go full time on my business. I actually got turned down by Wendy's. So he says, why do you want to work at Wendy's? I said, you got 41 stores, they're franchise owned. You have over 1,000 employees. You only have 2 corporate people. You got an HR person and an ops manager. So you don't have anything for the team. And they had problems with retention and they had problems with engagement when they did events. They didn't have like a corporate training person. Right. And I had worked with over 5,000 young Black men as a social worker, helping them get jobs and go to college over 16 years. So, and I was a lawyer and an entrepreneur. So I knew I was just going to be the best grill man ever, then manage the best Wendy's ever, then create a corporate position for myself. And a week later, the district manager, Dave, called me up and he's like, I'm not going to offer you the position, Sajad. I said, why not, Dave? He said, you're going to quit as soon as you find something better. And I said, it's been 2 years. I've been unemployed for 2 years. I'm like, Wendy's cannot turn me down. You can't turn me down. And they did. And then that night I was like, okay, I had an existential crisis. I said, either I got to kill myself or I got to come up with something new. And the next morning I was downstairs brushing my teeth and I said, man, I really need help here. And then I looked in the mirror and I said, oh yeah, you could help me. And then that week I got a website, I created a company name, and I started going really hard on cause and effect consulting. And within 6 months, it just exploded. And now it's really, really big. I only work with up to 5 people every 6 weeks, but I have plenty of clients. I turn down more than half the people that want to work with me. So if I think somebody's going to fail, I just won't work with them because I don't want to take their money. So it's done really, really well. And thank God Wendy's didn't hire me, because I wouldn't be talking to you right now. I'd be at Wendy's.
Oh man. Anyway, the very, very important thing I got to ask you, was the guy's name really Dave? Like Dave, Dave
I know it's
Thomas?
coincidental, right?
It's so
His name
funny,
was
right?
Dave. Yeah, no,
That's
when I
awesome.
walked in, so I had like a $3,000 Calvin Klein suit, lawyer clothes. So a
Yeah.
very expensive suit and all that. And he looks at me and he looks at my CV and he goes, the first thing he says to me, "What the hell are you doing here, man?" I said, "I'm trying to get a job." And he's like, "Well, of course you're trying to get a job." He's like, "But why?" I had already interviewed with the general manager,
Mhm.
and she's like, "Just so you know, Sajad, here at Wendy's, you have to work, or you have to work your way up in life." And I come from immigrant parents. Both my parents grew up in poverty. Neither one has a college degree. So I'm like, "Yeah, I know you need to work your way up in life. I get that. I'm willing to do that." I'm like, "But," she's like, "So do you want the job?" And I'm like, "I want to talk to the district manager first." So I was going to tell him, and then I told him my master plan,
Mhm.
and he didn't buy into it. So
I bet he's still dealing with a lot of a lot
yeah,
of retention
probably,
issues and whatever the
probably
issues.
same issues. Yeah, I could
Yeah.
have helped.
Well, that's the thing, right? I mean, I think that's a very common challenge that we deal with when we're talking to clients, right? Is like they don't look ahead, one, but two, they're trying to say, cut money in the wrong areas. They're trying to save money in the wrong areas, right? It's like, where do I save money? Oh, I can save money in the training development side of things and supporting my employees, right? And really helping them to be better employees and better at what they do, because who cares about that? And then I wonder why people are leaving. So it's just one of those frustrating situations. We bang our heads against the wall trying to help our clients, but they have to help themselves too, right?
Yeah, it's all. Main thing I teach is self accountability. Jim Rohn says a couple things. If you want to make, well, he says a lot of things, but here's a couple quotes. If you want to make 2 times more money, make yourself 2 times more valuable. So I teach my clients to be hyper self critical without taking it personally. So be very, very hard on yourself, but don't feel bad about it. You're just growing to make more money. The other thing he says in correlation to what you said is, if you do $10 an hour jobs, you'll end up making $10 an hour. So I
Yeah.
don't clean my own house. I don't mow my own lawn unless I feel like exercising in that way. I pay people to well, I pay them to do mailer light and the schedule. I pay them to schedule my emails. I write my own content, but anything that I do, I pay a lot of people to do all the stuff that I can get done for $20 an hour, and then just focus on what I'm an expert at. And that's an ego, getting out of your own way and getting over your own ego, to not have to have control over every aspect of your. You have control over it, but you don't have to do everything, especially
Yeah.
as you grow your business. So I have a bookkeeper, I have an accountant, I have marketing people, I have lots of people to do everything that I'm not good at and everything I don't like doing. Tech, I have tech people. So
But that takes a lot. That takes a lot of self-awareness, right? I think that's a lot of things that people are not. Well, one, people that sounds like a lot of money, right, up front, right? It's like, oh, how do you spend money on all that stuff? Which, honestly, having gone through that process myself, I remember my first business, man. Like, I was so excited because I did my own website, but I spent like 25 hours doing that, right? Where it was taking someone else. It was a very simple website. It wasn't anything complicated, but if I hired someone to do it, I would have probably paid him like, $1,000 back then, and they would have been done in like 6 hours, right? And I wasted 25 hours doing this thing. And going back to your thing about the task and what's at hand, I always tell people nowadays, like, look at what you pay yourself. If you pay yourself certain X amount, like, so let's say you pay yourself $100 an hour, just for example, right? If you're doing this for $100 an hour, you just wasted $2,500 to save 1,000, right? So you lost $1,500 essentially.
yeah, it's what are you worth? As an entrepreneur, you don't judge. You're not an employee gets dollars for hours. An
Yep.
entrepreneur gets money for value. Also, I do tell so I harp on that a lot with my clients to get their mindset to change in a lot of different ways for what it means to be an entrepreneur. And also, what is your minimum dollar amount that you're worth? Like you're saying. So if you're worth $300 an hour, you can't do low end jobs. My insurance agent, when I started my tech company, and he's a very successful multi millionaire, he said, best advice I can give you in business, Sajad, hire people before you think you can afford them.
Hmm.
So
I think you want to say that one more time for the folks in the back who did not hear that. And
hire people before you think you can afford them. And I just bought a luxury trailer I bought a sports car last year. I bought a mountain last year. I've spent a lot of
You bought a
money.
mountain?
Yeah, I got land in the mountain. so I travel for 3 months every winter. And a few years ago, I was coming up a hill and I saw this huge mountain. And I was like, oh man, I want to put, like the Hollywood sign, I want to put Mount Sajad on that mountain.
Dude, that'd be hilarious. You should totally do that, actually.
I couldn't afford that particular mountain. So then I started looking into where you can buy cheap mountains. You can buy islands too and rivers. You can buy all kinds of stuff. You just go online and
just
Google.
Be careful with the island thing because that's gotten a bad rap in the last couple of years.
Well, there's one that's like haunted and it's like huge, but it's like 100. No, it's like 10. I think they want 10,000, and it's a couple acres, but it's I think it's near Great Britain, I believe, or maybe near Spain. But it's like it's everybody thinks it's cursed. So nobody will buy it.
So super cheap. Yeah, it's like the Conjuring house, but island form.
If you don't believe in that shit, although if you buy it, you might die fast. I don't know.
I thought it was the Island of the Dolls. You hear about that one? That island in South America or something. Or Central America, I think. It's this island. It's like it's not super far from the coast, but it's like you have to take a boat, like one of those like boats, small boats to get there, and it's all these like doll heads, like over 100,000 or 10,000 doll heads that are all over the island and all like in various forms of disarray and destruction.
Yeah.
And it's creepy as hell, man. It's super cool, but I'm not a big fan of dolls just in general, just because of just the whole Conjuring thing and Annabelle and whatnot. Because I believe in that stuff personally. I believe in supernatural stuff. There's no way we're the only thing out there. That's just doesn't make sense to me.
I try not to think about it because it scares me.
It fascinates me though. It's like I get super interested with this kind of stuff. Honestly, supernatural stuff is. I mean, so your family is Pakistani by birth, and your dad's Pakistani, and your mom is from Belgium.
Belgium, yeah. So my dad is a capitalist, conservative, U.S. patriot, Muslim. My mother is an atheist, socialist, revolutionary. They've been married 56 years.
So it's going well. Sounds like.
Well, I don't know about that, but they've been married for a long time.
It's going. Is what it's going, right?
It's still going, yeah.
Yeah. Well, they made you, so it can't be too bad. And that's the only compliment I'm going to give you right now.
I think they have core values. They don't do drugs. They don't really drink. They had core values in common. My mom wanted to be a mother and raise kids. My dad wanted to be a father but not raise kids. He just focused on making money. Traditional Pakistani, traditional 1950s. Edith and Archie Bunker.
Yeah.
For the young people, you're going to have to go to YouTube to even understand that reference. And I'm going to touch on a couple of things you said earlier, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, please go ahead.
So I wouldn't say, and I wouldn't even call my company a consulting company now that I know it's like a bad word, since there's 800,000 business consultants in the world who've never actually started their own business before. And coach is the same thing. You know, I saw a 21-year-old life coach the other day, and I'm thinking, man, you still have to learn how to wipe your ass before you try to tell anybody anything else in life. But so I'd say I'm more of a personal trainer. I really do. My clients always say I change their lives, and they say I should say that, and I say I can't say that because it sounds like fraud. They should say I should do life transitional work. But I'm polarizing, so I have a couple networking events that I run, and like you said, they're totally different than everything else. It's legitimate fun, not conjured up fun or contrived fun. It's not attempting to make something fun. It's actually just fucking fun. Polarizing was started in January of this year. It has over 50 people on average. 7 of them are multimillionaires. It's all legitimate business people. There's no gay ass get to know you questions. There's no patronizing lecture about you're not here to sell. You're here to form. No, you're here to sell, man. We're here to do business. This is our jobs. We're here to make money. My partner, Kristen Spencer, believes in know, like, trust, go giver, and it's all about relationships. So she's wrong about everything. It's all about driving a sports car and owning a mountain. But she's really smart and successful. We just have different ways of going about business. We have a guest speaker for 10 minutes who adds massive value. To add massive value means to say things where people write them down. So if you're doing posts to TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, any social media, make sure you're adding massive value everywhere you go. If you do a podcast, if you do a presentation, that's the number one key to getting sales is adding massive value, not trying to sell at all. And yeah, 10-minute guest speaker, 5-minute interaction with Kristen and I, 15-minute interaction with the audience, and then 2 15-minute breakout rooms where there's no questions and no rules. So if you want to talk about spiritualism, you can talk about that. If you want to talk about money, you can talk about that. If you want to talk about your ex-husband, you can talk about that. You can talk about anything you want. And the event repulses poor people and weak people, and it attracts intellectuals and rich people, because people that need guidance on how to have a conversation get very uncomfortable when you let them act like adults. And then I have another event with Jim Schulman that we're starting out in October. It's October now. We're starting out soon. October 18th, I believe, is our first event, called Mini Shark Tank. We're going to have 3 people pitch their businesses for 5 minutes, and then we're going to do a mini Shark Tank with the guest, Jim Schulman, and I, and the audience. So each guest is going to get about 15 to 20 minutes. It's going to be very fast moving. It's going to be super fun. So if anybody's looking for opportunities to speak and promote their business, I'm all about it. If you want to be my friend, I'm not interested. I have 23 of those already. But if you want to talk about making money together, let's talk about that. Or if you need help with getting promoted, I have a massive network.
Yeah, and you also got a list of 14 applicants for new friends as well, I heard.
Can I talk about it? I love that they'll get rid of
Go for it.
90% of the people.
I think it's hilarious. I think it's hilarious because before you talk about it, actually, I do want to highlight one thing you said, which is that the beginning of what you just said about the business consultant, business coach conundrum / challenge with the world right now. The coach, I call it the coach conundrum, right? It's like people they need ultimately support, right? They need support, guidance, all those kind of things, because there's no handbook. They don't teach you how to do business in school, right? They teach you the opposite, actually, how to be a follower, not necessarily a leader. And I'll be honest, most people need that, right? Because not everyone is a leader, otherwise there's no one's a leader, right? But there's no like license process. Like to be an attorney, you got to go through a licensing process, which is a lot of, frankly, it's some of it that I see the need for it, but there's also a lot of bullshit behind it that's just political and stupid, because there's some complete morons who are attorneys and pass the bar, and it's just a barrier of entry. But there's no barrier of entry for coaching. There's no barrier of entry for business consulting, right? You can just wake up one day and be like, I don't like my job, I'm going to quit, and I'm going to talk about how great it is that I quit my job for the dumbest reason ever, and I'll make something else up and put it on marketing, on social media, whatever, and then I'll just take a bunch of pictures of myself at the beach and then just be like, live, laugh, love, yay, and that's it. Right, that's what coaching is.
And rent a helicopter and a sports car too.
Yeah, exactly. And then be like, my car is better than your car, so fuck you. And it's like,
let me show you my file on my computer. People ask me online all the time to prove myself, and I'm like, what do you want me to do? Like, show you.
Just show them a bar graph, right? Or like one of those not bar. What is it? The just a chart that goes up, right? There's no titles, there's no labels on the sides, on the axes. Just throw a random chart up there. I'm like, here you go. That's my net worth.
Yeah, it's the same thing. They say, oh, if you got such a hot girlfriend, why don't you show her? I'm like, then you're gonna say I what is that called? Not PowerPointed her, but use some technology. What is the technology? Photoshop. I Photoshop my bankrupters. I Photoshop my girlfriend. Like, shut up, stupid. I tell them, man, I'm really old. I'm just really good looking, and I'm like, I ain't trying to prove myself to you children out here. I'm telling you what it is. I'm not lying to you. I don't need to prove myself. I'm a grown up, So to your point, the first lines on my website are directly about that. 95% of my former clients have been ripped off, and current clients actually have been ripped off by fake ass business coaches. So there's 3 things you should be asking. Have you ever created a business other than a coaching business before that was successful? Because if they haven't done it, they shouldn't be selling it. May I talk to your former clients?
Mm-hmm.
And then what exactly are you going to teach me? So usually 2 weeks into my program, because 95% of my clients have been ripped off before, 2 weeks into my program, they say, why wasn't I taught any of this stuff? And this is 2 weeks in, right? And I say, I don't know. Why the fuck did you hire that person? And they say, oh, I liked her, or because she made a lot of money. So what the reason these people are able to sell so well is they tell you there's a magic pill, there's a funnel system, there's this easy way to getting rich, and it's not true.
Yeah,
the way to getting rich is to attract money. The way to attract money is to make yourself a lot more valuable. So the issue is you, and the thing you need to fix is you. You need to know how to pitch. You need to map out a strategy. You need to know ROI and CAC, activity versus productivity. You need to know how to negotiate and close deals. You need to know the mindset of entrepreneurship, which I teach all those things. And the real thing is taking a really hard, constructive, critical look at yourself. That's the key to the money. The people that sell all these programs, they're making a lot of money. Their clients are not making any money.
Right.
They're using a drip campaign. So they say for $2,000, I'll change your life. Then after the 6 weeks or whatever, then you pay the 10 grand and you're at the next level. And then when you finish that, there's the 20 grand thing where you're really going to learn what you need to know. When I meet with people and they've been in a coaching program for 6 months or a year, and I say, pitch me on your business. Tell me clearly. To pitch means to concisely and clearly articulate your value.
Right.
And they can't do it. And I'm like, you're 6 months into a program, you're a year into a program, you don't even know how to say what you sell. I teach my clients that in the first 10 days. So if they're not teaching you that in the first 10 days, they're automatically a fraud. If they won't let you talk to if you go to causeandeffectconsulting.com, my website, you'll see, I think, more than 20 people, and I can refer you to a lot more, who will tell you exactly what they got on my program.
Yeah. And that's the other part of it too, which is people don't understand what they're selling even, right? They don't understand who they're talking to, who their audience is, and they don't understand what their offer actually is, right? They have no idea what either one of those things is. And going back to something you said earlier, which is tied in, the no like trust thing, right? A lot of people push no like trust all day, every day, right? It works to a point, but at the same time, I feel like people focus too much on the middle one, the liking part, right? Yeah. And not the other two. For me, it's like, look, I can, if you're an expert in your field, right? If you're the top of your game, then I know who you are, right? I definitely trust your opinion on what's there. I don't necessarily have to like you though. If you to give me results.
It's you don't have. That's new age feminism, third generation feminism. You don't need to like somebody to pay them money. I don't want to be your friend or have sex with you. I just need you to do the work I need you to do.
Right. So it's a sales tactic more than a buying tactic.
They're selling no like trust. That's what they're saying. And trust. I mean, no, I don't call somebody my friend. I'm too old. I don't call somebody my friend for 3 years. Because we got to go through a lot. You got to be rich. You got to be poor. I got to be rich. I got to be poor. You got to fall in love and fall out of love. And we got to go through all these things together to see if we're really going to be friends. Are you going to shit on me when I succeed? Are you going to be there for me when I'm depressed? No? Do you know me after? You know somebody after 2 hours? No, you don't know them. Like is irrelevant. It's trust. Yeah. Can that person help me there's a lot of people that don't hire me because they don't like my personality. That's stupid. Because I'm here to make money. My contract has 12 lines, all in plain English. One of them says, understand I am your coach, not your friend for the next 6 weeks. Don't get the relationship twisted. I'm here to push you to greatness. And that's the people that hire me are super smart and extremely hardworking, but they're stressed out because they're not getting the results they want.
Yep.
And I don't give a shit what they think of me. I have a job to do, which is to help them make a lot of money off of their passion. That's my job. Help them. And I'm successful 96% of the time because I turn down more than half the people. So I turn down the people that I think are going to fail. To the social media marketing, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
I'm having a lot of fun with this story right now. So here's 3 tips for the audience first. I'll add value before I talk shit. To social media, whether it be TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, or LinkedIn, anywhere you're going to post. First step is catch people's attention. Step 2 is to add massive value. To add massive value means to say something where people write it down. So if you're purporting yourself to be an expert, don't say it, show it. Prove it by doing it. Give away all your information. People hire people for help with implementation, not information. People can go to YouTube or Google and find out all the info in the world. How do they implement those concepts? Number 3, end with a call to action. Please hop on my calendar to learn more. Please check out the description below to attend one of my networking events. So catch people's attention, add massive value, and with a call to action. Make sure they're 15-second videos. I post to TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube every day. It takes 6 minutes. Batch your videos on the weekend. So I shoot 45 videos in 30 minutes. All I do is take my notebooks, which are my client conversations and the things my clients ask me about, and I turn those all into posts. My entire program is available without charge. on social media because it doesn't matter. People hire me for the help with the implementation. They see it and they know they need to do it, but they don't know how to execute. And so I help them with execution. So I did a post. I travel in the winters. I own land in Chicago and then land in Arizona. And I did a post saying, if you are a brilliant, beautiful, down-to-earth woman who wants to travel the United States for 3 months, please let me know. And the post went up. I was mostly talking shit just to see what, just having fun. 95% of the time I add massive value. 5% of the time I'm just talking shit and having fun. And I have 14 young, beautiful women who have applied to travel. It's my most brilliant idea ever. It's done completely by accident. I didn't know what kind of reaction I would get. I knew I would get a lot of reaction to it, engagement, comments, probably haters, but that just promotes the rest of the brand and the rest of the posts. But actually, it turns out I might have met my future wife, future ex-wife. I'm not sure yet. We'll find out. I'm gonna have a prenup for sure, though.
Oh yeah, definitely have a prenup on that one. I think that's hilarious. And again, it's just having fun, right? That's what I love about your brand and what you do, is because you are having fun. It's very clear you're having a good time with what you're doing. Yeah. And I think at the, I know you have the brand of being, the Sajad Abid, and it's like this guy who's like pushing you kind of asshole, but I don't see you as the asshole guy. I see you as actually the opposite, as the devil may care, but devil actually does fucking care, which is why I appreciate the work you do, because you do give a shit. And at the end of the day, it's something that where it's like, it's hard. People they're gonna see the exterior, right? They're gonna see the post, they're gonna see the shit talking, they're gonna see the stuff that is on the very very basic surface of things, but they won't like dig deeper, right? They won't dig deeper to see the fact that you give a shit about your clients. You're taking people on because you think they're going to succeed. And it's not about your numbers. It's like people will see that and be like, oh, you only think people who are going to succeed, because those people probably shouldn't be business owners, right? I mean, I've done the same thing. I haven't kept track of it. I probably should actually think about it now, but it's like, I turn people away and tell them straight up, listen, you probably shouldn't be a business owner, right? You don't have the mindset. You don't have the drive for it. You don't have the stuff for it, frankly. And there's nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing about saying like that something's wrong with you. You just need to want people who should have a full-time job, right? You should rely on other people to do their own things. And that's the other thing too. Like, you're actually doing this as a full-time employee. You're still doing a lot of work you would do doing a business owner. You're just delegating other work, or having someone else delegate that for you, basically, and pay them for you to do all the business development, to do the sales, to do the marketing, to do the admin tasks, right? You're just having someone else pay them to do that for you. That's the only difference really between being responsible for those things and delegating them yourself versus having someone else do that for you. So, I mean, when you're thinking about the how much shit do you catch for the exterior version of Sajad?
Well, I would say that I attract the intellectuals who can see through shit talking and get past curse words. So those are not the people for me. If you're weak or stupid, I don't want to associate with you. I don't want to have sex with you. I don't want to be your friend. I don't want to do business with you. And I make way more money. My clients make way more money. My networking events are way better. These other people that try to do events get like 10, 15 people, whatever, 10, 12 people. I get over 50. And they're legit. Over 7 of the people that attend my events on average are multi-millionaires. So they get it. They understand what it is. I crack them up. I got distracted by a text for 5 seconds of somebody saying, he screenshotted one of my posts and said, bro, you're hilarious. So the rich people like me, and they know what I'm doing. I have three quick stories for you. Yeah. And I also am repulsing the wrong people. You want to repulse the wrong people.
Yep.
So my ex-girlfriend was somebody that met with me because she wanted to hire me. She was brilliant. She was gorgeous, master's degree, world traveler, lived in 7 countries, really cool chick. And 7 minutes into our conversation, I said, are you money driven? Because she was talking a lot about caring about people. Mm-hmm. I said, no, I'm not money driven. I said, oh, I'm not going to be able to help you out. She said, why not? I said, because if you don't care about money, you're not going to do what I teach. And she's like, well, where do we go from here? And I said, well, how do you feel about traveling?
Of course you did.
And then Then we traveled for a while.
Nice.
And then I had a guy this year. I do try to vet people as best as possible. I want to have integrity. That's my main value in the world, is honesty with self and others. And I had a guy quit 2 weeks into my program who had paid me up front, like the vast majority of my clients do. And he said, I don't want to be an entrepreneur. What you're teaching, I understand, is the right stuff, and this sucks. And I said, but you said having a job sucks. And he says, it does. This sucks worse than that. And I said, all right, what do you want to do? He's like, I don't want to do this anymore, but you can keep your money. I appreciate what you taught me. But I charge a decent amount of money, a fair market value. And I still saved him like $100,000 if he had bought a Subway or something, or $150,000.
Yeah.
You know, I saved him a lot of time and money because he doesn't have to go investing into something that he doesn't actually want to do. Being an employee is a lot easier. Entrepreneurship is a fantasy. It's like dating a perfect looking woman. It's until you do it, you don't know what it is. And it's not what you think it is. It's a lot of problems. And then the last thing is, or the last story here is, I had a guy hire me, 65 years old, former military leader. And he was making $220,000 a year, something like that, in this job. But every 6 months, he was making them like $65 million. So he said, fuck it, I'm going to start my own business. Mm-hmm. And then when he hired me, I'm like, you got to do this and this and this. I'm showing him everything an entrepreneur has to do. This goes back to what you said. Yeah. As an entrepreneur, you are you're being your own boss is a misperceived phrase. You also have to be your own boss. You have to manage yourself. You have to do your bookkeeping. You have to do your marketing. You have to do sales. You have to do accounting, legal, every aspect of your business until you have enough money to pay for everything. So he was like, he's saying all this stuff isn't getting done. And I said, that's because you're not doing it, bro.
I love that phrasing. All the stuff's not getting done.
Nobody's doing the work then.
Yeah, because it's your responsibility. I told them, I'm like, listen, if you want to be an entrepreneur or a business owner or whatever, right, whatever you want to call it, you have to be responsible for every aspect of the business. Whereas right now you're laser focused on your subject matter area, right? You start a business, well, guess what? Everything you're trading in your one job for like 40 jobs. And yes, you are your own boss, but you're also your own employee, and they don't get that part of it, right? You're still an employee but you're an employee of yourself, of your business now. Yeah. And the buck stops with you. Whereas before, you can call your manager to support you and deal with something. You are the manager now, right? You are the admin. You're not going to be like, let me send to my secretary. You're going to be like, oh, let me schedule that myself, right? It's like, it's like they don't. People don't understand that distinction. I mean, similarly, I had a client. This guy is a really successful, really smart, really sweet guy. Cared about his family, whatever. Wanted to build a strong, a strong income for his family, and he just quit this job. He was working tech job, and he's like, hey, I'm doing this work right now. I want to start my own business. I've been doing it for a little bit on the side. I'm like, okay, well, doing it on the side is very different from doing it, as your only thing, because you have a full-time thing that's supporting you. Are you ready to do this? He's like, yeah, I'm ready to rock. I'll do whatever it takes. I'm like, all right, fine. We went through like about a month of this stuff. It's like working through like exactly what he needs to do. And the first 2 weeks he's actually doing okay. He's learning about the mindset he needs to adopt. He's learning about what actions he needs to do, what his offer is going to be. And then when it gets down to actually getting the work done, he started having sales conversation. He's like, I don't like this. I don't like the sales conversation. I'm like, all right, that's great. Doesn't really matter what you like. You got to do it right now until you can hire someone to do it. Right. Absolutely, we can get that off your plate as soon as possible. But until you get enough clients in to pay someone else to do it, you can't really do it, right? Because he's got a family to deal with and all this other shit. And he ends up getting a contract side gig at this point, which ends up being his full-time gig. It's a full-time gig as a contractor with a company. He's like, hey, I think I'm good. I think this is the only client I need. I'm like, this is not a client. This is a job, bro. Like, you know what I mean? This is a job because they're paying you what you want full-time. They're taking up all your time, and they're giving you like benefits and whatever, which is great. Nothing wrong with that. But if this is what you're looking for, this is called the job. This is not a client, right? Because you don't have time to do your own thing. And he's like, oh, no, it's fine. It's fine. I'll be okay. I'm like, all right, that's fine. If that's what you want, then go for it. Just make sure that, you understand this is a 6-month contract. It's not like a full-time forever thing. And you got to be looking for the next gig as soon as possible. He's like, oh, he'll be fine. He'll be fine. 6 months later, I get a call. He's like, "Hey man, they laid me off." I'm like, "No, your contract ended. There's a difference. They didn't renew you. There's a difference." And again, it's understanding the different pieces of it. Like if anything, law school taught us, right? It's like understanding the difference between in terminology between a contract position, a full-time position, and like a client customer relationship thing. Those are different things. But I think the average person doesn't understand that stuff, right? Unless you really break it down.
Well, in law school, in the books as of today, under tort law, an employee is called a slave and the owner is called the master. It's still that language. And when I saw that in the books, I was like, hey, there's capitalism. I had a few thoughts on your thoughts, if that's all right.
Absolutely. That's what they're here for.
So business owner is a misnomer. You're not a business owner initially. You're self-employed.
Right.
Business owner is where I took my tech company and where cause and effect is pretty close to that as well, where I have people doing the vast majority of the work. I meet with my clients up to an hour a week, and then they call me on average 4 hours a week. But that's on average. And then I have a ton of support staff. I have the online program. I have people coaching people through my program before so they have the online program where there's a video and materials. They get the information there. Then they talk to a former client of mine who is the best at that particular section. They get the information there. And then when they meet with me, they refine, we just polish the stones at that point.
Yeah.
A business owner does not have to work or does not have to work very much at all. Now, in terms of being your own employee, here's what I teach my clients. Every night before you go to sleep, create an hour-by-hour schedule with quantifiable measurements. 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., you said you're sending emails. Are you sending 3 emails or 30 emails? And why are you doing that? I'm never going to tell you what to do, but I'm going to have you take a hard look at yourself. You're going to have an employee named Mike. You're paying Mike $200,000 a year. Mike is going to hand you that schedule. What questions would you be asking your employee? You want to focus on money-making activities. So no reading, researching, creating, analyzing. Get yourself out there, get people on your calendar, show massive value, add massive value, and close fucking deals. There's an abundancy versus scarcity. It's something you brought up. Mm-hmm. So in order to attract money, you have to not care. So if you want too bad, you don't get, you repulse, right? Yeah. Just like in dating. If you really, I just want to get, I just really need to get laid. You're not going to get laid. I just need this one client and everything will be fine. You're not going to get that one client because you're going to have energy of scarcity. Yeah. The last guy, is the last guy? No, two guys ago that hired me during the pitch meeting, he said, "You seem like you don't give a shit." And I said, "Yeah, I don't give a shit." I said, "Do you want to hire me or not hire me?" He's like, "I definitely want to hire you." I said, "Okay, well, let's keep doing that. That's what we're doing right now." He goes, "Oh, okay." So if you care too much, if you want too much, it's energy out into the universe.
Yeah.
If you're operating out of desperation, you're going to be desperate. If you operate out of abundance, you're going to be abundant. The law of attraction is true to some extent, but you got to put the work in as well. Exactly. But there are energy factors here and how you carry yourself as well. So even last year, I made a ton of money, and there was 7 weeks where I made no money, and I changed nothing during that 7 weeks. And there was people that I could have that wanted to hire me during that 7 weeks when, I'm check to check. I mean, that's how you think, right? That's how you operate, whether it's true or not. You have to operate like, hey, I need to make money. I have to be on the hustle. Otherwise, I could wake up, drink beer, play video games, and go to sleep, and then wake up, drink beer, and go to sleep. I can do nothing for years, actually, if I wanted to right now. And I worked 16 to 19 hours a day. The billionaires keep working because they were billionaires before they became billionaires. That is who they are. So that's how you have to be. And then the final thought here is on people pleasers. The number one reason why people can't close deals is because they're people pleasers. There's 3 parts to being a people pleaser. Number 1, I want everybody to like me. Number 2, I never want to make anybody uncomfortable. Number 3, I never want to face rejection. So if you're a people pleaser, you cannot do sales. And if you can't do sales, you can't be an entrepreneur. Even if you have a sales team, you are still the number 1 sales representative of your corporation. You're the ultimate sales rep for your company. So you have to separate between personal and professional. I am an asshole. but I'm much nicer to my girlfriend than I am to potential. I'm much nicer to my family and friends than I am in business. I'm not cutthroat, and I don't pressure anybody to hire me, but I don't take shit in business. Personally, I'll put up with a lot more than I will in business. So I'm much more of a nobody had ever accused me of being a people pleaser, but I'm much more looking to please people personally than I am professionally. Business is business. Business is about money, helping people add massive value, get paid for your value. And then your personal life is where you cry and have feelings and shit like that.
Yeah, and I agree with everything you just said. Honestly, it's because it's true. Like you got to separate the, you can't really compartmentalize. You're still the same person in different places, and I definitely see that. Especially, I mean, in you, for example, right? Like you're obviously still a good guy. You still care about people because you're not just doing this for the money, but you are doing it for the money, right? Like you have to make money.
Yeah.
Everyone has to make money, and anyone who says they're not interested in making money is I wouldn't say that they're lying, but they're being disingenuous or they're not telling the whole truth. Because unless they have so much money, they don't really give a shit. In which case, they wouldn't charge for what they're doing, right? So ultimately, yes, we are here to make money. We're networking is for networking to make money. We're not networking to make friends, right? If that happens as a byproduct, which has happened before, then that's awesome and that's great. You meet good people and you just gel. That's great. One thing I want to pull out was the scarcity abundance and dive into it a little deeper. And people don't talk about that enough. I feel like, and the ones who do talk about it they get into the people pleasing mode on social media because they're afraid of getting canceled and they don't really go into deepness about that. And I feel like for me, it comes down to fear and goals, right? Whether you want to call it love, desire, goals, whatever, they're all the same thing, right? It's fear and love, fear, desire. Those are the two motivators of human beings. And if you don't want it bad enough, right, then you're not working for what you want anyway, right? Like you're not going to work hard enough for it. If you're operating out of fear, though, then yeah, you're going to try back to your whole point about energy, right? You're going to be running away from something. You're running away from debt. You can run wherever you might. I use the horror movie analogy a lot because it's like you got the person's running away from Freddy Krueger, and what happens? They ultimately trip over something because they're looking back at where he is and not looking where they're going. You trip over something, you fall, you break your ass, you get killed, right? Simple as that. Same thing's true in business. If you're looking at what you're afraid of, you're not going to know where the hell you're going.
Give me 1 second.
Yeah, go for it.
Sorry.
All good. Dogs come first. It's cool.
Oh, my mail lady is friends with my vicious pit bull. I have a vicious pit bull named Sweets. So
nice.
the mail lady walks into my house and brings her a bone every day. And I forgot to leave the door unlocked.
It's all good. Pit bulls are the best, dude. They're so cute.
Vicious. Sweet, you're vicious, right?
Yeah, they're only vicious when they're defending. But they defend fiercely, as we should our own businesses. Actually, we can see what I did there. Huh? There you go. But no, it's like people are always operating out of this fear thing, right? And so, what's your method for first diagnosing somebody who's operating out of fear versus operating out of their goals?
Don't think. Just take massive action. Don't think. Don't care. Don't feel. Just do and understand that hate is love. Hate is a strong, powerful energy. The more haters you get, the better that you're doing. The higher up the mountain you climb, the more difficult it becomes to breathe. So I have in my online community, there's a section called wins where you get to celebrate your wins. There's a section called fuck ups where you talk about things you did wrong or things you need to improve on business wise. And my clients will put, hey, I got my first hater. It's a win. Right. It's nice. A mentality change that, there's people that talk a lot about me behind my back in bad ways as well. Right. Well, they don't really know me, but yeah, they talk shit. Right.
Yeah.
I'm abrasive, belligerent, which I am, but whatever. But they're talking about me. All press is good press. And so they're not talking about you. And one of my friends, she made $5 million in her first year of business. She tells me all these people talk shit about me to her. And she always says back to them, you realize you're talking about him, right? Like he ain't talking about you.
Right.
So it's a paradigm shift in thinking. There's 3 keys to success as an entrepreneur, which if you set up a 30-minute one-on-one with me, I'll run those by you or run you through that part. And it's a paradigm shift in thinking. You eat what you hunt. Becoming an entrepreneur is becoming something totally different than an employee, like your story. That guy never changed. No. He never became an entrepreneur. He just wanted to feel good about himself. So he used language that said he was self-employed or a business owner when he wasn't. But yeah, it's a paradigm shift in thinking. It's one of the 6 modules of my program. It's the capstone to my program, is the 3 keys to success. Even though we're talking all along the way about changes in mentality. So yeah, you got to just do. And once you do, here's the biggest thing about fear. Once you do, you'll realize it was nowhere as bad as what you thought it was going to be.
Right. It's never as bad as you think it's going to be.
The real fear, the anxiety, the panic is in the thinking about it. There's a cool phrase I heard: depression is living in the past, anxiety is living in the future. So it's the fear of what might happen. And then when you do it, it's like I have my clients connect with 90 people per week on LinkedIn by going click, 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 click. And like, I can't do that. I'm like, yeah, you can. Watch. Go do it. And then they do it and they go, shit, man, I have 400 new connections in the past month.
Yeah.
By going click, 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 click. So, do podcasts, do presentations, present at networking events, put yourself out there. You're not failing. Even when it doesn't work, you're gaining. As long as you're being hyper self-critical, right. You're gaining, because every time you figure out how it doesn't work, it didn't work that way, you are closer to the truth. You are closer to success every single time it doesn't work. It's only failure when you quit trying. I had one client in week 5. She's like, I'm going to stop doing social media posts. I'm making myself look like an idiot. I'm done looking like an idiot. I said, shit, you're not going to make any money. And she was doing a really bad job. But you gotta put yourself out there. Be willing to look stupid.
Yeah.
Be willing to fail. Be willing to, because then you get better and better. Everything I've ever done has sucked. And when I first tried it, and then I got better and better and better at it. I've been doing this consulting work over 10 years now, 6 years with intellectual tech, over 4 years with cause and effect consulting. And every year I look back a year ago and say, man, I sucked last year. And right now I think I'm fucking great at what I do. And a year from now, I'm going to say, man, I really sucked last. It keeps improving. If you're hyper self-critical, you keep on getting better and better and better. Every time one of my clients struggles, I don't say, oh, that stupid Bob or that stupid
right.
Jen. I say, okay, why did I not teach that correctly? Why didn't that person get it? How can I do better? How can I improve? It's 100% self-accountability. So yeah, it's a paradigm shift in thinking about failure, fear, and you can't do paralysis by analysis. You can't sit there thinking. You need to get out and do work.
Yeah, I mean, there's a big difference between self-criticality and obsessive, just like, what's the word I'm looking for? Destructive criticality, right? I mean, there's constructive criticism, there's destructive criticism, right? And you got to focus on the constructive side of things. How do you get better? Not what did you suck at, but what would you suck at, and then why did you suck at that? Is there something you can do to change that in the future? Because guess what? You can. I mean, my thing, I follow Gary Vee a lot, right? Because I like the way, I like most of his content. Like I said, most of it. But one thing I love that he said is just get out there and do it. Like you said, to get there and try it. You're gonna be bad at that at first, right? But you get out there and keep trying. And I don't know if you follow this guy named Jared Polin. He's a photographer. Really fun. His whole thing is like fro nose photo because he got big ass afro, and he's cool as hell. He's funny as hell. But his whole thing was, and actually, that's one of the reasons I started my YouTube channel was him and Gary Vee was talking about all this stuff all the time. But Jared Polin showed his first froze nose photo video that he did like 20 years ago, and it was literally him just reading something at like the camera. It looked like a bad news correspondent situation. And it was just, he's like, this is what my first video looked like. If you're not doing videos, like this is as bad as it can get, folks, and this is out there still, you can go look it up. And I was like, okay, all right, fuck it. I'm just going to do it. And 2020 hit, I was like, I got nothing else going on because nothing else is happening in my life. Why not? It's just me and my dog. So let's start posting. And, I'm still not anywhere where I want to be, but I'm putting stuff out there. And to your point, you only get better by trying and seeing what works and what doesn't work. And Edison failed the light bulb 4,000 times, 10,000 times. The number changes every person you ask, right? But as X thousand times he failed, and he just found ways to improve it every single time. If he gave up at attempt 9,999, we would not have a light bulb right now, right? It's just it's one of those things where, like you said, you got to be critical, but I think critical in the sense of looking at ways to improve yourself, not hey, you suck, and then period, end of sentence, right? And I think people mask that nowadays. To your point about the people with all the nice cars and helicopters and all the kind of bullshit that they flash around the place. It's like, yeah, what is that really doing for, just because you happen to
It's
have that?
making them a lot more money.
Right.
Michael Jordan says nobody talks about how many shots I missed. Any of these stories. Mark Cuban says you only got to be right once. Most people fail a lot. I mean, I have a girlfriend or a female friend of mine who she says I have a photo book of all your former business cards, of all my fucking failures. So, I've been very successful a few times.
Yeah.
With my law firm, my tech company, and with Cause and Effect. And I was successful a couple times before that as well. But I mean, a lot of shots at different things over the years, clothing companies, publishing companies, promotion companies,
Yeah.
So,
I mean, like I said, I'll take a couple successes, right? But I want to be mindful of your time because I know we're pulling up here.
Yeah.
But dude, thanks so much for taking the time to talk today. Anything that you want to leave the audience with, and then I'll ask you one more question to end it, and then we'll go from there.
Thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it. That was a whole lot of fun. I'm pretty sure you and I are going to be good friends for life.
Absolutely.
I believe so. So you can come out to my mountain if you want this winter.
Mount Sajad.
I have 2 separate RVs now, so you'll be staying in my guest house, and as long as I get along with my next girlfriend, you'll be sleeping alone. If not, you're gonna have company. I still offer, although I'm about to change this, a 30-minute complimentary conversation. I will research you. I will add massive value. I will not try to sell you anything. I will tell you what I do. So if we can put it in the notes somewhere, how they get on my calendar, or you can go to causeandeffectconsulting.com, check out my website, check out the testimonials, and you can get on my calendar from there. And like I said, for right now, I'm still offering that 30 minutes, although that's going to be going away soon.
Nice. And last question I will ask you, it's a question I ask everybody because I think it's kind of cool to think about this, but who or what, the book, movie, TV, or person, right, was your biggest inspiration? And as you push through the days between when you started a career and now?
Depends on which career, but I have 3 thoughts rapidly.
Okay. Sure.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad, version 1 for business. There's a documentary called The Biology of Sex Appeal. Personally, it had the biggest impact on me ever. So there's 3 things women are looking for. It all has to do subconsciously with survival of the babies. Mm-hmm. It's social stature, money, and sense of humor, because those babies are most likely to survive. And then for feeding your energy subconsciously, listen to Les Brown every single day. Start out with Les Brown's You Gotta Be Hungry. But watch Les Brown when I'm playing video games or just cleaning the house, or if I'm in my downtime. My downtime is still work. If I'm in my downtime, I'm listening to Les Brown. My best friend has 2 PhDs. He's a medical surgeon and he's a psychotherapist. And he was here a few years ago, and I was, running the tech company, running the law firm, and deputy chief of staff for the state. And it was like 2:00 in the afternoon, and I put on Les Brown. So we're watching Les Brown, an 1.5-hour video of Les Brown. Halfway through, he says, "Sajad, can you please pause this for me?" I said, "Sure, man." He said, "I have my own medical clinic. I also work for the state. You do this, that, and the other." He's like, "Do you think we need to be more motivated?" I said, "Yeah, James, we can do better." He goes, "That's true, bro. Put it back on." So just feed yourself a lot of Les Brown. Read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and if you're interested, check out the Science of Sex Appeal. That's what it's called. It's a documentary.
Nice. That's awesome, man. If you like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, there's one called there's a book called I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi. Check it out. It's a different take on money management and stuff like that, which I really liked. Everyone else is like, "Oh, cut out the coffees. You can save $5 a day on coffee." He's like, if you enjoy the coffee, make it work. Just cut out of shit.
Dan Pena says, "Buy before you can afford." The billionaires buy before they can afford.
Right.
They buy shit, and then I've done it with the sports car, the mountain. I just bought a luxury RV last week. I bought a lot of stuff, and now I have money, and there's money coming in. But right now, my expenses are my income is very close to my outcome. the income, but it's okay because I'll just figure out. I'll work harder. I'll do more work. I'll do better work. I'll do smarter work. I'll do more podcasts, more presentations, more social media, but I'll work harder and I'll
Yeah.
make more money. I'll afford anything I want. I can afford anything that I want. Anything I set my mind to happens because I figure out, in Rich Dad, Poor Dad, this will be my final thought. He says, one guy looks at the Lamborghini and says, I wish I could have that. The other guy looks at the Lamborghini and says, how do I get that?
Yeah.
As soon as you tell yourself how, or you ask yourself how, your brain starts to figure out how to make that thing happen. It's if you no wish, no hope, no luck, no try. How do I make that happen? And then put in the work to make that happen.
Yeah. And the second part is when I stress, because I say the same thing. The secret is bullshit unless you work for it, right? You can put all the energy you want. If you're not willing to work for it, you want it to just fall in your lap, not going to happen. But Sajad, thanks so much, man. It's awesome. Good times. Folks, if you want to find out more about Sajad, it'll be in the description below / in the show notes on the podcast. But including his link will be there, his website link, as well as a schedule link for as long as that exists. But awesome. Thanks again, man. Take care of yourself. We'll do this again for sure. This was awesome.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Absolutely. All right, and recording.